What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Truck Parking Clubhouse. I'm your guy, Lumbar Trucking, back at it with another Monday Clubhouse edition. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend out there. Hope you had a happy Easter over the weekend, and it's Easter also next week for the Orthodox. Whatever holidays you're celebrating, hope you guys are staying safe wherever you're at, whether you're at home or over the road. Before we get rolling, do want to let you know 40 minutes ago, Taillights issue 64 is in your inbox. Check your spam if you need to. Sometimes the newsletters can wind up there. There's a whole bunch of goodies in there. Great feedback, by the way. Everybody who's reached out from Taillights last week about some of the information. We got some good stuff. Some crazy stats. Traffic deaths technically are down overall, but however, the distracted driving is a problem that is getting worse. And I kind of touched on that on Instagram a little bit about why with distracted driving, how I don't think it's going to get any better. And there's ways to fix that. But also some information about the UCR, the Uniform Carrier Registration, something for small fleets and, well, any motor carrier, is that those fees have been recommended to go up in 2027. And there's a link right in Taillights where you can go and leave your comments. Basically, the bigger the fleet size, you could be paying a substantial amount more money for those UCR. OIDA says that the UCR has kind of outlived its purpose, and it's just become this kind of slush fund of state money states money that gets thrown around. It's just money that goes out into the ethos. It doesn't really do anything anymore. So we'd love your guys' feedback on that. As well as we announced our raffle winner from the raffle we did at the Mid-America Truck Show, that beautiful Henry rifle we had at our booth. The winner was announced in Taillights. We've got that video out there for you. But without any further delay, I want to bring on this week's guest, lovely young lady we met at the Mid-America Truck Show, who's an amazing driver and got one hell of a story. And I am ready to bring on my good friend, Lolo, onto the stage. What's going on, Lolo? How's your Monday?
It's going good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here. We met at Mid-America Truck Show. Before we get into it, let's talk about your experience at Mid-America. How was it? What was your experience like going to Matt's? Was this your first time going? How did the show end up for you?
So this was my second time at Matt's, and this time, although I did have my pre-registration and I did have free admission, how everything worked out was it was nothing short of a miracle. I actually had forgot about it last minute, and then I just happened to have a load in Louisville, like loading out of there, and when I realized that, I phoned my dispatcher and I said, "Hey, who's the driver that's going to be delivering this load? Do you have anyone?" And they said no. And so I said, I'll take it. And I was able to, be there for the truck show, not have to worry about taking any time off, not have to worry about travel accommodations, anything like that. It was perfect. So,
Awesome. Good. And that's good to hear. I'm glad you're able to make it out. I know the March can sneak up quick. I know as the year started, right after New Year's Eve, I was like, man, I can't wait for Mid America. And then boom, March finally showed up, and it was
mhm.
it was good stuff. And what was your favorite part about the show? Was it the parade? You have any trucks stand out? Any new equipment or new technology stick out?
Um, as far as like my favorite part, um, I feel like I like to go to a lot of like the smaller like vendors, Like I like to go to the booths where I don't see anyone and sometimes it looks like they're sad and I just like to go talk to them and I ask them, hey, what is your booth about? Do you have a presentation? You know, and um I don't know. I like to do that and sometimes it makes me happy when you see someone that really believes in their product and or their presentation of whatever they have to bring to mats and you know give them a shot you know
Yeah, those are always the best conversations to have. Yeah, the people who kind of don't look like they look a little bit out of place. They're not getting a lot of action at their booth to figure out their story. You always find those to be some of the most interesting people. Those are good parts about those shows. But enough about the Mid America Truck Show. We've got to hear the story. How do we get trucking with Lolo? What got you into the trucking world?
so actually I'll get down to it. So I used to be a UPS driver. I worked in warehouses before that, and I remember one day I was just scrolling on TikTok and I saw a TikToker. She's a trucker named I think her name is Trucking Doll, and she's a young lady about, my height and build, and she was driving this big old semi truck. I said, wait a second, we can do that? I thought we needed, all this upper body strength. I thought we needed to be big and tall and strong. I had never seen that kind of representation. Um, so I started Googling, how would I go about getting my CDL? And I had this crazy idea. And it was only up from there. And I started studying for my permit. And then from there, then I got to my starter company. But I really, representation does matter. um, and I'm very thankful to Trucker Doll because, yeah, I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I'm familiar with her content. She's like younger African American woman, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, she's got some amazing content. So it's crazy to see the power of social media and what it's done and who it's been able to bring into the industry in a lot of ways. Our good friend Aubrey O'Meara, she's very similar in that way. She's gotten a lot of women to enter the industry just purely by showing kind of her lifestyle. Interesting. I know we spoke at Mid America Truck Show. So
Mhm.
you were working for UPS before you had gotten your CDL. We should also you spent a couple of years in another line of work.
Yes, yes, I did. So right before I did UPS, I guess you could say my instead of my senior year of high school, I actually went to EMT school, and I used to be a first responder. So I was working on an ambulance as an EMT, and I feel like that background in itself, it gave me a lot of good perspective into everything I do now.
Yeah, I was gonna
So,
say that's some tough job. And you had what while you were working as an EMT, I'm not sure if you had mentioned. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was that your first time experiencing? You had seen some accidents involving tractor trailers.
Um, I personally wasn't involved. Like, I never had a call where I responded to a tractor trailer incident. I did have ones. I did have a, motor vehicle accident on the highway that I did respond to. And I remember, like, the importance of wearing the proper safety gear. Wearing your vest, wearing a vest that is breakaway. So, in case a car does come by or a vehicle does get too close to the first responder, it will literally snatch you. So you have a breakaway vest that, you know, you prioritize safety first. And um, yeah,
Yeah, proper PPEs. Yeah, sometimes we think those
basics,
things
sets the
could.
foundation.
Yeah, but there's always a method behind the madness. Well, that's awesome. I
Hmm.
appreciate what you did as an EMT, and it's great to see the power of social media bringing in somebody such as yourself into trucking. Before we get into one thing that's also really important, I've noticed with some of your content, and it's something really important to me, is you look out for your health and fitness when you're over the road. Walk me through, like, when did you kind of start to realize that prioritizing your health and fitness is important as a driver, and how do you stay active, and how do you kind of like what's your nutrition look like while you're out there on the road?
Well, I'll say, all of it goes back to the foundation. So I would say probably the number one way that I prioritize that is I wear compression socks, because if you guys didn't already know, you have the varicose veins that are a risk, and you also have uh, deep vein thrombosis, also known as DVT, and that is a big, big it's an issue in this industry. So any industry where you are sitting down for long periods of time, you are at high risk for that. If you're eating foods that are higher in, I guess, higher in fats, higher in sugars, things like that, things that can clog your arteries, that combined with, sitting, and then where we put the pressure on the back of our legs as drivers, all of those things create the perfect storm. And it's just not a situation that I would want anyone to be in. Um, I also focus, like, I try, there's the health aspect, and there's also the cost aspect. You know, a lot of truckers, we are essentially living in food deserts. There's a lack of proper nutrition at these truck stops, and also anything that is healthy, also, as well as the unhealthy stuff, there's a surcharge at these truck stops. And quite frankly, I'm on strike. I'm not paying it. So I will go to Walmart. I'll do my Walmart Plus orders and I meal prep as much as I can because, you know, everyone has a different plan for what they want to do with themselves after trucking, but it's not everything is not about money. What is your life going to look like, if you can't take care of yourself? What is your life going to look like, if you have all the money, but in the pursuit of that, you've lost your health? What is your life going to look like?
It's good to hear. It's always good to hear somebody besides myself say those words because that is the most important thing. It's not about today, because today's choices have an effect on your, 20 years from now in every sort of the way. And that's kind of the message I preach is about where do you want to be in the twilight of your career, twilight of your life, because it compounds over time. It's just like if you don't pay a credit card, you know, the debt's only going to keep climbing. There's interest, and the body keeps score on how you treat how you treat yourself in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. Unfortunately, the rent becomes due when you least expect it, when you don't need it. So you're already in the right mentality. So Walmart Plus, by the way. So tell us the benefits of Walmart Plus on doing that. What is Walmart Plus? How do you use it? How has it benefited you for any drivers who might not know?
So Walmart Plus is a subscription that you can get through Walmart if you haven't already figured that out. And what it allows you to do is you can place an order for groceries or anything that they have in their store that's local to you, and it usually allows you to set a delivery time within the hour or within the next few hours, and you can continuously like set the location to wherever you are. So if you're at a truck stop, if you're at a shipper, if you're at a receiver, anywhere on land that is near a Walmart, they will deliver to you. And um, I think you pay if you want an expedited delivery. Usually it's around like $5 or so. But if you spend $35, you get free delivery. So I definitely take advantage of that. And along with my Walmart Plus, I get access to Sam's Club gas, their prices, and my choice of Peacock Plus as well as Paramount Plus. They give that to me for free. So I don't have to pay a Netflix bill. I don't have to do any of that. And I've had everything delivered with Walmart Plus. When I say everything, everything from the air fryer to the truck stop to ingredients to make fresh pizza from scratch, cereal, clothes, toiletries, just stocking up on basics. It has improved my quality of life so much because I could not imagine like trying to live off whatever they have in the truck stops and not having access to anything else. It would it would be such a struggle.
Well said, and and I'm already gearing it out. So for any driver who is listening, you're talking. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that with a Walmart Plus. And I drop a weekly health tip in the Taillights newsletter every single week. People can check out. And this week I talked about the benefits of walking after you eat, but walking in general is always the first thing I always want anybody to do to start getting healthy and to do some light cardio. They don't need to run marathons like I did. Walking is truly the gateway drug into fitness, and truly you don't even need to run. You can walk your all of your weight off, and so if you think about it, you can park 5-10 minutes, place your Walmart Plus order. It's going to take an hour to an hour and a half to get to the truck stop. While you're waiting, you can go get that walk, fill up your water jug. You can, with your free Netflix or Peacock, if you really want to, again, because this is what I would do, you could still watch Netflix and do all the things you want to do on your phone while you just freaking walk laps around the truck stop. All of a sudden, you've walked for 20, 30, 40 minutes. Boom, your food's arrived. You can cook dinner and still get 7, 8 hours of sleep right there. We cannot be in a better time for that to happen. Walmart Plus, I think, had started coming around when I was still over the road, and I would pull into Walmarts. I pulled into Walmarts on 30-minute breaks because that's always the message I preach is that no matter what, any tractor trailer can pull into a Walmart. You might not always be able to park there, but you can pull in for 30 to 60 minutes and get your grocery shopping. Now they'll even bring it to you. And we need to talk to somebody. I should have talked to somebody at Walmart at Mid America on how they can increase some of that advertising to drivers out there, because that is, I mean, it's, as far as I've heard, it's the biggest game changer. You're talking about everything to you, including, because again, drivers run out of toothpaste, drivers run out of deodorant, and like I think the baby size deodorant inside a truck stop is like $7. Like it's a
Hmm.
complete ripoff. My man Chris Thomas jumping in. He knows after a 690-mile day, there's nothing better for an hour walk, and that is true. It will make you feel better. You will sleep better, and he's totally done a Walmart delivery on his last OTR reset. So getting it done on your reset is good too. I appreciate you sharing some of those good health, some of those good health and fitness tips for you when it comes to movement. Yeah, do you? I know you mentioned we sit down a lot. Do you get involved in any regular exercise? Are you walking? Where do you fit in some time to get in any workouts?
I'll be honest, I really don't work out like I need to. I've been getting my steps up. I've got my Apple Watch and I'm counting. Uh, Another way that I do incorporate my walking into my content creation is I've been flying my drone and it follows me, and so I can walk, and it's kind of like my little incentive to myself, like, hey, if you walk, then you can fly the drone and then it'll follow you around and then you can, you know, because I'll be honest, like it's hard. You have to make a conscious effort, and however that goes for you, everyone has, their different ways. As long as the outcome is health, it really doesn't matter how you get there, you know?
Absolutely. By any means necessary. It's actually a big reason why I do the clubhouse and why I love being at Truck Parking Club, because we're full endorsers of that, and we want to try to foster the community that helps drive that conversation and keep it going. And whether it's flying your drone, or like our other friend, good friend of the show, Sean, he might be tuning in. He rides around with a unicycle with him. He's got a unicycle that he rides around whenever he's doing crazy stuff. So by any means necessary. So if you got to, which is why, again, content was my biggest motivator too. Like at a certain point, I was like, you know what? There's there's one guy who's waiting for a Lombard running video to drop on TikTok, and I can't let this guy down, even if it's 25 degrees. Like when you start making a little bit of content, all of a sudden it kind of pressures you to make the next video and do the next thing, and you got to get moving, and then all of a sudden you've been getting it in. But that's good. I mean, you're on the right path. And overall, sometimes exercise is hard, but locking in the nutrition part, I think, is always the most important for people. And then you stack habits from there. That's awesome. Kind of shifting gears a little bit, I'd love to get your take. Parking's a major issue in transportation. It remains the top three issue. I've got to ask you, when was the first time you had heard about us at Truck Parking Club?
The first time I heard about you guys, I would probably say, um, maybe beginning of last year, I'm gonna say. Don't quote me on that. I know a friend of mine, I remember asking him, like, how do I find, like, I think I was looking for parking near Chicago or something. And I asked him, like, where's a good spot for parking, you know? And he sent me the link for the Truck Parking Club app. And I was like, what is this? And then I found out it was a whole, like, it was, essentially it's the trucker version of Airbnb. Because before then, like, I knew that it was a thing, but from I guess my limited understanding at the time of it, I thought it was only like, maybe 5 or 6 locations. And so I never really had considered it as an option because I thought it was, like this, when really there's thousands of locations. And I was so shocked, and I was really grateful. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that night I bought my very first truck parking club spot, and it saved me.
Were you, and yeah, but when you say it saved you, were you out of hours, or what? Like what was it? What had been going on?
I was running out of hours. Sometimes you run into obstacles as truckers. You have a day, you have a plan, right? I'm going to go from here to here to here. And it never quite works out like that. And so you have a breakdown, you get a flat tire, things happen, and just like that, you're running slim on your hours on your clock, and you know, and then you're in a predicament. So
There we go. And when you're out there driving, where are you primarily operating? Are you lower 48? Where are you normally driving?
I drive out east. I drive east, Midwest, North. south, and we also run to Canada and Alaska.
You go to Alaska. Have you gone to Alaska yet?
No, but it is in the near future.
Well, I can tell you, if you get to Alaska, we do have, I believe we have two locations in Alaska,
Oh,
and
wow.
we're gonna we're dying to see who can get some eyes on drivers up there. I'll have to see. I'm not sure if those locations have any bookings just yet, but we do have locations in Alaska. So depending on where it goes, what kind of freight does your company haul up to Alaska? Is it oil and gas, lumber? What kind of loads will make that haul instead of going on a ferry?
We do tankers.
Hmm.
So we haul everything from food grade, oil, chemicals, hazmat, anything you can think of. And, we find solutions for our customers and we will make it work. So
All right, perfect. We're gonna have to stay in touch on when you're able to pull off that Alaska load because that'd be a pretty epic journey. And hopefully it's in the months to come, the warmer months. You're not going through any ice roads.
I hope so too.
Mhm. But kind of going back to Truck Parking Club, any locations, any other locations you recently stayed at that stood out for you besides that first time? Just curious what your overall experience has been, kind of your use case for it.
There's one location that I did like. Well, I like all of them, of course, but one of my favorites would probably be in Louisville, Kentucky. There's one that you guys have, and it's right across the street from the EMS headquarters for Louisville, I believe. And I felt so safe, like, I'm a young woman, so I felt so safe, knowing that they're just across the street, like if I were to experience a medical emergency, God forbid, or and then, you see police cars going by and, even though you're on this lot, this gravel lot and there's really nobody around, you have that sense of, their help is not far away in case I need it. And it was pretty central to everything and the loads that I had. And I don't remember the exact, I don't remember the exact street, but it was directly across the street from the EMS headquarters. So that's probably my favorite location as of right now.
Awesome. Yeah, right there in Louisville, Kentucky. Is that where
hmm
did you park there when you came to Mid America, or did you park in the Expo Center?
I parked at the in the truck parking for mats.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know a couple friends of ours had to drop some trailers, so I wasn't aware if you had to drop a trailer or anything, and you had used one of our locations, but that's awesome. But got a couple more questions for you before I let you go for the night. What's your favorite part about the trucking industry?
My favorite parts. I know we touched base on this, I guess, when we were at Matt's, and I mentioned how I love, getting to meet people from all kinds of walks of life. So, people from different cultures, people that speak different languages, and having that opportunity to essentially travel the world, even though I don't really have to leave the United States, because everyone comes here and it's such a beautiful experience. Um, Another thing I would say is having the flexibility. Uh, like, for instance, I was able to attend mats. I didn't have to worry about taking time off work or travel, lodging, all the expenses. I was just able, to make a phone call and just like that. And I'm still making money and I really didn't have to adjust my schedule too much. And it was really a blessing. And when you have the things like that and various other options, when you can just call your dispatcher and say, hey, do you have any loads to this or have any loads to this city? You have that flexibility. And I feel like time is one of the most underrated currencies. And when you have that at your disposal and you're able to use your time over the road to your advantage, so you can essentially be in two places at the same time, I feel like that's invaluable.
Yeah, you can't really beat it. I remember one of the first times I had gone down to Laredo. I forget the exact verbiage I said, but I should probably just tweet it again just to solidify it. Was I remember kind of like what you said, you meet so many different types of people. I referred to Laredo as the Constantinople of US freight. It's this crossroads of everything. It's the largest land port in North America. I mean, if you've driven a truck, you've probably like there's like a 90 like I feel like that's like a very common thing. Like anybody you've talked to as a driver has been to Laredo. Like, there's other people who don't go West Coast. Some people go here, but like no matter what in that first year. So it's just like it's someplace everybody's been. It's this crossroads of freight where yeah, you meet like so you meet everybody from different walks of life, including different jobs. I mean, I've met guys who were lawyers. You've got guys. I mean, we have a good friend. I put his book, plugged his book, and he sold his book at our booth at the Mid America Truck Show. But he's you meet different people like Gord, this man
Hmm.
who's trucked across the ice roads. You meet all these different people with different experiences. And again, as you said, you get to be in two places in the same day for the most part. Your office is ever changing, so that's good stuff. And how long have you been driving currently?
I've been driving, so I got my permit in 2021, so I've been driving for about 5 years. I do have a confession though, I have not been to Laredo.
You haven't been to Laredo yet.
I have not. I have not. I really don't go out west. I really don't. Um, I go everywhere else though.
Got it. Well, the time may come. Obviously, it's only so many
Of
years
course,
in.
everything in due time.
Yeah, everything in due time. If you do
One,
tanker, yeah, you're right. Maybe unless you're, yeah, it kind of doesn't
yeah,
really make sense.
1 second. Hey, yeah, sorry. But yeah, I don't know. I'll get to Laredo, everything in due time. I'm excited.
Exactly. One last or two more questions for you. One is if is there are there any issues going on in trucking right now that you don't think are talked about enough, or what's an issue going on in the industry that you think needs a little bit more attention that kind of needs a little bit more attention that you'd like to see some change?
Um, I would say carbon monoxide poisoning.
Really?
Um,
This is the first time we got to hear about this.
yes. So as you guys know, if you're a trucker, you know this. It's a requirement that we keep a fire extinguisher on our trucks. And the idea is that, use the extinguisher to get the driver out. But along with that, a lot of people don't know a lot of drivers every single year become seriously injured or they unfortunately pass away due to carbon monoxide exposure in the truck because it does not matter how good your maintenance program is. It it takes nothing for a sudden leak to spring anywhere. It can get underneath the cab. And, we have a lot of these exhausts that are, unfortunately, they're not routed up over the truck, they're under, and it creates the perfect recipe for an exposure. And one thing that it's one of my goals for this year. I hope to petition and ask, the FMCSA to possibly add this to the FMCSRs is to require that low-level carbon monoxide detectors be put in all semi trucks, especially sleeper trucks. Emphasis on the low-level detection. We have the fire extinguishers that is part of, the required safety equipment. And I don't see why it makes perfect sense that we have low level detectors as well. And, this is not, I didn't hear this from anyone else. This is not, you know, this is me doing this for me. It's not, on behalf of a political organization or, a group or anything. This is my idea. This is something I want to do, with my background. And um, I'm not quite sure how I would make this come about, but it's something I'm passionate about. And I hope that, I can spread awareness for this. And, you know, I believe no driver should pass away in their sleep. This is something that is totally preventable. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. And at the end of the day, every driver deserves a restful night, in their cab so they can prepare for the next day. And they deserve that, they deserve safety in their sleep and on the road.
That's good to know. I'm glad you brought that up. I just did like a quick glance, and I had even seen an article from 2024 of a driver who did pass away. An article from Overdrive, a driver who passed away from carbon monoxide poisoning. And yeah, it's one of those. Again, it's one of those sleeper issues. We look at the big issues. We look at pay. We look at parking, and then there's just these. There are these kind of little. I they're almost these little, the paper cuts that also are just like the salt on the wound, like just the little things, like the quick daggers that are also thrown in there that just, show the industry's, for the industry's resilience and making sure that products get to where they need be. There's a toll that still gets paid along the way. A lot of times with that falls in line with safety and with lives. So I mean, it's actually a pretty crazy thing to think about. What's great is as you continue to talk about the carbon monoxide issues, we've got some people in the right channels who'd love to have a conversation with you about that, making sure that it gets heard by the right people. So we'll get to talk. We'll talk offline about that a little bit more. Last question for you, though, is if you were to talk to a new driver, especially let's flip the switch. You're somebody. There's a young girl out there, 21, whoever. Or it doesn't matter, guy or a girl. They see your content on TikTok. They're like, wow, I can't believe Lolo's doing this. I had no idea. And they come to you for information. They're coming to you for a question. What's your advice to a new driver looking to enter the industry?
I would say look into your local workforce program. They have different programs. I think it goes under a federal program, and then their states also have their own. I would look into that because usually there's grants that will allow you to get your CDO for free, and not only is it for free, they will pay you to go to school. And once you graduate, you will not be, you're not going to be tied to any particular company. So you have the option to go where you want to go. And if, you've changed your mind and maybe you want to go to a new company, you're not financially and you're not financially tied to, a company because you owe them tuition money or things like that. And I believe that as a new driver, keeping your options open and having that ability to pivot is 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 crucial.
Awesome. So yeah, so your vote would be, hey, if you want to get in this industry, either look for your state or local government's benefits or pay your own way. Try not to try to deviate from any sort of contract or bidding from another company. Try to pave it your own way. Keep your options open.
Yep. Yep.
Sound advice. That seems to be a lot of general consensus for the other drivers and partners that we have on this show. But number one, want to thank you for coming on the Clubhouse. This is the first time, won't be the last time. Any last parting words you'd like to let rip for? We got a good chunk of people. We got over 74 people right now jumping in live. Anything you
Aw.
want to say to the crowd before we jump off for tonight?
I would say if you're a rookie driver, get all of your endorsements and take your test in a manual. So no matter what goes on in this world, you can go to any job you want and you can work anywhere. That's the best advice.
That is it. That might have been the first time that's been said on the Clubhouse too. Is we've talked about transmissions, but there you go. Yes, don't get the automatic restriction and get those endorsements. Said right there, you're a current tanker yanker yourself, and again, keeping the door open and keeping your options open are definitely the best things you could do in the industry. But and to everybody else who is tuning in live, I really appreciate you guys. Lolo, I want you to crush your week. I want anybody watching the Clubhouse to crush their week. Again, myself, Lombard, and Truck Parking Club, we're here to help you guys win. We partner with people like Lolo. Lolo's an individual who wants to help lead this industry better than they found it. That's what we do here at Truck Parking Club. We help truckers save time and fuel, thus money, by working with existing property owners so that they're able to instantly reserve truck parking nationwide. And again, if you need parking tonight or tomorrow or anytime this week, you can use the promo code LOLO20 for $20 off your next day. But with that, guys, that'll do it for the Clubhouse this Monday night. We'll be back next weekend, 7:30-ish. Stay safe. Hammer down.